Hey everyone, it's Mike here, and in this video I'm going to walk you through the process of how I created this high fidelity wireframe for this DailyUI prompt. If you're not familiar with DailyUI, it's an email subscription that you can sign up to receive daily UI challenges. I'll include the link in the description below if you're interested. So without further ado, let's jump right in. For this daily UI prompt, I was given the challenge to create a user interface for an itinerary. Before I start designing the high fidelity wireframe, I usually start off by creating a sketch or a low fidelity wireframe to capture my ideas down first. So let's start off by creating a new frame. I'm going to be using the iPhone 11X Pro frame. Then I'm going to duplicate it by holding down the Option, left click and drag, or if you're on a PC, it's Alt, left click and drag. Then I'm going to rename it by double clicking on the title of the frame. This one will be called Low Fidelity, and the other one will be called High Fidelity. Alright, now that we have the frame set up, let's start sketching on the Low Fidelity wireframe. With the low fidelity wireframe selected, let's go up to the drawing tools and select the pencil tool. Here I'm going to use my graphics tablet to sketch out the design that I have in mind for my itinerary screen. I'll start off by sketching the status bar, followed by the nav bar, which will include a back button, the title of the itinerary, and also an add item function. Then for my itinerary, I want to be able to view it by day, week, and month. After that, I want to show a timeline of the events that will take place. So each circle represents a different event in a sequence. Next to each circle will include the time of the event, the name of the event, and a description below it. After that, I will go ahead and copy the time and descriptions of the event, then duplicate it for the other circles by selecting the time and descriptions and holding down the Option, left click and drag, or Alt, left click and drag if you're on a PC. Alright, now I'm going to sketch out the tab bar at the bottom of the frame, and I'm going to draw a box with an X in it to indicate that it's an icon. And now the low fidelity wireframe is done. Next, let's move on to designing the high fidelity wireframe. Before I begin working on the high fidelity wireframe, I've downloaded a Figma file that contains the iOS UI kit. You can find this in the Figma community, and this file is called the iOS 13 UI kit. Since I have the file open, I can zoom in and copy this status and navigation bar by pressing the Command C or Control C if you're on a PC. Then I'm going to go back to my Figma file and paste it in by pressing the Command V or Control V if you're on a PC. Then I'm going to go ahead and delete the title so I can snap the bar to the top of my frame. And after that, I'm going to edit the text information on the nav bar. Next, let's create some rectangles for how I might want to view my itinerary. I'll start off by creating one, and then I'm going to duplicate it by holding down the Option, left click and drag, or if you're on a PC, it's Alt, left click and drag. After that, I'm going to press Command D or Control D if you're on a PC to duplicate the rectangle and have it spaced out evenly for me. Let's select all three rectangles and position it in the center of the frame, and it should snap into place. With the three rectangles selected, let's change the corner radius of the rectangles to make it look rounded or more like a pill shape. So, if you hover over the corner radius icon, the mouse cursor will turn into this double arrow, and all you have to do is click and drag, not to the left, but to the right, to find a number that suits your preference. And you can also drag it off the screen as well. Okay, now let's add some labels to the rectangles using the text tool. Now I'm going to change the color of the today's view to indicate that this itinerary screen will be active, and then the rest will be in a lighter shade. After that, I'm going to add in a drop shadow to the buttons because I want to give it some dimension and to make it look functional. Next, I'm going to make a timeline using the ellipse and pen tool. After that, I'm going to plug in the event information next to the ellipses. Alright, now that we have the timeline completed, I'm going to go back to the iOS UI kit to copy and paste the tab bar to my Figma file. Now I'm going to change the icons by going up to the hamburger menu and selecting Plugins, Icons 8 Free Icons. And if you don't have this plugin yet, you can find it in the Figma community by searching Icons 8 Free Icons. After that, this small window will appear and you can use any icons. Alright, since I'm unable to change the color of these icons because these are bitmap slash raster images, one trick that I like to use is to create a rectangle over the icons, choose my desired color I want to change it to, and then set the blending mode to screen, like that. Then we're going to group it together and replace the filler icons with the ones that I've selected. Okay, so since the tab bar is a light gray, you can still see that the blue rectangle is showing through. So I'm going to use the eyedropper tool to change the tab bar's color. And to maintain consistency, I'm going to change the other light gray UI elements, like the nav bar and the buttons on the top, to the same color as the tab bar. Alright, let's zoom back out to see if we can make any final touches or adjustments. Okay, the top buttons can space out evenly vertically between the nav bar and the timeline a bit. Alright, and now it's done. I hope you enjoyed this video. Hopefully you learned something from it. If you did, let me know in the comments section below. And be sure to subscribe for more videos like these in the near future. With that being said, I'll see you next time.